Hello students, please subscribe the channel, drop a like, share and comment. This is dictation number 37 and 38 from the Model Speed Dictation volume number 1 on the speed of 100 words per minute. Start. Mr. Vice Chairman, Sir, I would like to support the appropriation bill with two general comments. The first is that the only purpose of these appropriation and finance bills and budgets is to raise resources and to distribute those resources among various items of government which are not decided by the finance ministry. These items or activities of the government are decided by the government as a whole, the cabinet and the various ministers, with the finance minister having a say whether the resources should be a little less or they should be a little more for each department. I think we use this debate in order to range over the whole area of the economy of the government. We expect the minister to contain inflation, to promote industrialization, to promote small industries, to increase farm incomes, to reduce the trade deficit, to increase employment, to contain population, and also the question of the judiciary, the justices, and so on. We range over the whole area, though really the appropriation bill and the finance bill are much more restrictive in their scope. This is my first general comment. My second comment is that the economic situation today is a little worse than when we debated it in the Lok Sabha and in the Rajya Sabha on the general budget. At that time, the finance minister said that the price rise up to January is 13%. I forecast 15%. Now, the year has ended. The official figure of inflation is 16% for 12 months, which is well above the forecast. What is even more disturbing is that when we compare the wholesale price index figures, we find that there has been a 4-point rise in prices. The government says that the increase is only in regard to oil and sugar, but the wholesale price index shows that there is increase in every item, in every group of items. Then, secondly, in regard to the main anti-inflationary instrument, namely the special bearer bonds scheme, as has been pointed out by the Honorable Finance Minister in reply to a question, only one-fifth of what was expected has been mobilized so far. This shows that this anti-inflationary scheme has not been as successful as we thought it would be. We expected that it would bring in rupees 1000 crores. Sir, the Rabi crop is expected to be very good. But I see there is a scramble for wheat in Punjab, in Madhya Pradesh, and so on, where the levy has been introduced in order to stop this scramble. As far as the industrial and infrastructure situation is concerned, the picture is mixed. So, my second general comment is that I hope the Honorable Minister would agree. He is not responsible for this. The economic situation is a little more gloomy and a little more serious than when we discussed it a month ago under the general budget. This is my general comment on the budget. Sir, turning to the appropriation bill, there are four items that I wish to call attention to. One is item number 41, under which rupees 6,000 crores are being transferred to the states. This is as a result of the recommendations of the 7th Finance Commission, which we had an occasion to review and so on. In spite of this very large devolution which is taking place, what we find is that the budgetary deficit of the states is nearly double. The minister is well aware of this. I think the Reserve Bank has reviewed this growing deficit, and it is an occasion when we should also express our concern and desire for more careful fiscal management on the part of the states so that we do not add to the deficit we are forced to have in the central budget. The second point is about defense. I know defense is a sacred cow, especially today, in view of the insecurity that we have in the country, with arming of our neighbors and the Indian Ocean being in a mess. It is difficult to talk about defense matters, and I am not talking about these. But I want to ask the finance minister whether they put the defense ministry through the same financial scrutiny as you are doing in the case of other ministries. I think this assurance we must have because there is a large sum of money that we are appropriating, and they must also be subjected to scrutiny. The third is in reference to item 2 covering agriculture. On this, my first comment is that our food grains, our agricultural production is estimated to be in a good condition. But looking at what we are producing, especially in the areas of food grains, jute, cotton, and sugar cane, I feel the sixth plan targets on these need to be reviewed. They seem to be somewhat modest compared to the satisfactory food and agricultural production that is going to result this year. Now I have to point out to the declining trend in wheat procurement. In fact, the Ministry of Agriculture has sent out a circular to the state governments saying that they are no longer going to make available wheat and food grains under the Food for Work program, and that the state governments would have to procure the same for themselves. The second thing is that we are producing more and more food, but according to the figures given by the Ministry of Agriculture, the amount of wastage of food grains every year is increasing. We are wasting 10 to 12% of food grains. This is worth about rupees 1000 crores and represents a heavy loss to the nation. So, my second comment is in relation to the figures that have been published this morning about the number of small and marginal farmers in the country and the amount of net and gross irrigated land. When I spoke about it this morning, the Minister of Agriculture brushed it aside.